Okay. Welcome, everybody, to our annual Kentucky Derby seminar here at the Rampart. A lot of new faces, a lot of friendly faces. Thank you for attending. We appreciate it, as always. And what is this, Bob? Number 6, you said, our 6th year.
Our 6th year. I went back, and I think our first one was in 17, Always Dreaming.
Always dreaming.
And we've hit every one, even the September Derby, where
Yes.
we had Authentic win, and it was delayed till September. So
Yeah,
6 in a row.
6 in a row. And
Love
now we're
being
spinning
here.
back quick. It's back to the first Saturday in May, so that's a good thing. Get all the pandemic subsided, and let's get to some great racing. As always, you guys know me. I'm Dwayne Colucci. I'm the manager of the Rampart Race at Sportsbook. I've worked on this property for about 20 years now. I believe 2003 was my hire date. So it's a pleasure to serve you guys, as always. Love doing my job. And without further ado, here's the man that everybody's here to see, Mr. Handicapper himself, the legendary Bob Ike.
Thank you, Dwayne. You do a great job. Got to know Dwayne the first time we did it, and I think we've built up a good chemistry over the years of doing these. He's got a great opinion. He works his butt off. So I'm happy to be here and see a lot of familiar faces. Started doing these seminars way back with Steve Fierro up in Reno, you know, eons ago, and then we moved to the Atlantis over there, and then came down here and really enjoy it. I bring my gambling buddy Alan over there, and every year we're just counting down, you know, 2 weeks, 1 week, 48 hours. We can't wait to get out here and play these 2 days. Didn't do so well today. We both needed the same horse in the Oaks, Nest, who ran second to Dwayne Lucas's horse.
Yes.
But that's why they make it a 2-day event, so we can come back and come at them tomorrow. So.
And that was a filly he was planning on putting in the Derby, so she showed her true merit. She ran her heart out today, and, you know, credit to Dwayne Lucas, 86 years old now, oldest trainer to win a Grade 1 that I can remember, so congratulations to Lucas. He did a fabulous job with that filly today. You know, we did have the Oaks to Kentucky Derby double, which we were actually able to feature this year. Guys, remember the past 3 years I was booking your action. We didn't have the pari-mutuel hookup that we do have now. We have come to a contract and an agreement with Churchill Downs for the next 5 years. I see Mark frowning because he got a capped trifecta a couple of years ago. But, yeah, we'll be paying full track odds this year, no worries. And back to the pari-mutuel pool.
Right, no limits, and you guys can root for everybody, right?
Correct.
You don't
yes,
have to.
I don't have to sweat anything. See all these grays from the last 3 or 4 years.
Pick sixes, pick fives, all the
Everything.
rolling bets that
Yes.
we all love and get involved with. So, you know, we'll get to the Derby. We're going to go through all the horses. We're going to show our usual prep races that we show all the major preps, all 6 of them leading up to Derby, talk about the trips horses had. We go through some betting strategy, and then at the end there's a drawing, Dwayne, that you know more about than I do, but I know people can win for slot
Yes.
play, etc.
We will draw 20 names, post-position order from 1 to 20, and you will receive, if we pick your name out on that particular number, 20 win, place, and show. That will be turned in if your horse finishes first, second, or third, and will load your Rampart Rewards card with all the money according to the pari-mutuel playoff in free slot play. So it's just a fabulous promotion. I'm glad everybody turned out. Like I said, 20 winners, and only 3 race day, but it could equate to a lot of money. I mean, we gave away a ton when Country House got put up against maximum security, so think about that. You know, it's really a good drawing. And we will field a couple of questions at the end of the seminar if you guys want to ask anything.
So we will touch on all 20 of them. Some of them obviously will spend more time than others, and we'll open it up for questions afterwards. So we've got a little PowerPoint, and then we do our race replays. But let's just talk a little bit about the storylines, in my opinion, for this year. First of all, no Bob Baffert 2-year suspension at Churchill Downs. I think everybody kind of knows the story by now. Medina Spirit disqualified last year for having an overage of, to be clear, a therapeutic drug. So Churchill Downs basically banned him for 2 years. No Baffert in the Derby is a shocking development. He's been the dominant trainer over the past couple decades. 6 Derby wins, would have been 7 to the DQ last year. Dwayne, he's got 2 horses that started their career with him and will go back to him after his suspension is over. Messier and Taba, 2 of the California horses coming out of the Santa Anita Derby, both trained now by Tim Yakteen, his former assistant. So people have said, well, what do you know, are they going to decline? I don't think there's going to be much difference. Tim Yakteen worked for Charlie Whittingham. He worked for Bob Baffert. Jimmy Barnes, who's the assistant trainer for Bob Baffert, is now the assistant trainer for Tim Yakteen. Same bookkeepers, same assistant trainers, same training program, I'm sure, same vets. So in my mind, you know, it's kind of Bob Baffert training these horses.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a lot different than you saw some of Baffert's horses go to Todd Fletcher, Life is Good, animals like that, and that's a whole different scenario because like Bob said, you're taking them out of the barn, training techniques go out the window, you go over to Fletcher's training techniques. So I don't feel that these 2 horses are diminished by Yakteen at all. I think Baffert is pulling the strings, he's making all the calls, and you know, whether it's perceived as illegal or how it's perceived by the public, you know, Bob Baffert is totally synonymous with horse racing, and he's a major part of the game. And it's toned down a little now because you're seeing a lot of the problems with Medina Spirit, like Bob said, but I definitely think he's calling the shots with these horses, and you know, I don't diminish their chances a bit under Tim Yakteen.
Derby favorites were on a real roll from 2013 through 2018, won 6 straight. And you know, you think about it, a 20-horse field, the favorite winning 6 straight races in the Derby, it was kind of unheard of. We've had upsets the last 3 years. To me, I go down the list this year. I think there's a lot of quality animals in here. I'm going to try to narrow it down to probably 4 horses to use in my exotics, but it's not going to surprise me if one of 10 or 12 horses were to win this year. And I don't think it's because they're bad horses. I think this is an above-average crop of horses that have ability, and you know, it's not going to shock me if we see some decent price.
That's why I'm glad I'm not booking it.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
So,
booking it would have been difficult this year, having to monitor the bets, because like Bob said, I think the favorite's going to be at 4, 5 to 1 possibly.
Right.
You have several horses with chances in this field.
The trainers are the 2 favorites on the morning line, Epicenter and Zandon. Steve Asmussen trains Epicenter. Chad Brown trains Zandon. Neither one of these guys have won a Derby. Now, Asmussen's 0 for 23. A lot of those horses maybe didn't belong. Chad Brown, I don't think, has run nearly that many horses in the Derby. But it's just kind of interesting that both of these great trainers, Asmussen's in the Hall of Fame and Chad Brown certainly will be, have never won a Derby yet. Does that impact your thinking at all?
Well, Asmussen's on an 0 for like 73 streak in Kentucky. So, you know, I respect Asmussen so much, and Chad Brown is the top conditioner in the world, in my opinion. I mean, he's hitting at 33% this year. So think about it. 1 in every 3 starters that Chad Brown puts on any race course or any surface wins. So, you know, Chad Brown hasn't had as much experience, you know, in the Kentucky Derby, but I think he could definitely rectify that losing streak, especially this year. You know, the morning line favorite, he trains, and I think Brown has an excellent chance. Asmussen's a top conditioner. He's in the Hall of Fame. We know all the great horses that he has trained, so I'm sure he'll get one down the road as well.
And then we talk a lot about post position. There's the post position draw gets a lot of attention. Well, you don't want to draw the rail. Maybe you don't want to draw number 20. I thought Steve Asmussen said a great thing in the interview the other day. He said, you don't know who drew a bad post until after the race is over, because the trouble can come in the middle. Horses can crowd each other. There can be stumbling. It can come from the inside. It can come from the outside. So I don't think any of us know what a good or bad post is until you watch the replay and say, boy, that horse got really slammed at the start.
And you're going to show a picture. I'm glad you added that to this slide. Now they have a 20-horse gate. There's no more auxiliary gate. So that's very important because everybody's now in a straight line. The rail horse isn't compromised as much as he used to be, and you'll be able to see this right here. This is an excellent, excellent graphic. And this plays into the trip of a racehorse at Churchill Downs, especially in the Kentucky Derby. And you could see how the surface is on the top when it's wet. If you picture that on the bottom and you combine that with the new gate, it's a much more favorable scenario.
Right, so the picture on the top is the old starting gate where they had to use, I think it held 16 horses, and then there was an auxiliary, maybe 14 and 6. However it was, you could see there was a gap there. They had to use an auxiliary starting gate. And the horses that were in the 1 and 2 post, the post 1 was basically aiming straight at the rail. If those horses did not move out, they would run straight into the rail. So now the new gate you see on the bottom has a 20-horse stall, no auxiliary, and now you're about 3 or 4 or 5 lanes off the rail.
And you could see the guy standing there.
Yeah. Much more room, much more safe, in my opinion, and much more efficient. So definitely a big plus going to this new starting gate that holds all 20 horses and makes more room, actually, without the auxiliary.
Totally agree, and definitely it's a great thing for Churchill Downs. It was a long time coming, and I definitely think, it takes a lot of the riffraff out of the race and the banging and crossing over, especially when you're outside in that auxiliary gate.
Should we start showing some race replays?
Go ahead, Bob. Lead the way.
Everybody ready?
You are the man.
We've got 6 Derby preps. We'll talk about each of the Derby contenders that are coming out of these races. I'll try to tell you what post position or what saddle cloth they're wearing, and then we'll point out their trips and talk about those horses. Now we'll see 15 of the 20 horses that are entered in these Derby preps. We'll talk about the other 5 that are maybe Dubai horses or the one that comes out of the Turfway race that I don't have the replays on. But so let's go ahead and get started. The first one we're going to watch is the Louisiana Derby, which was run 5 weeks ago. This was a 1 3/16 race at the fairgrounds. 3 horses come out of this race. The winner, Epicenter, Zozos, and Pioneer of Medina. So 3 horses entered tomorrow come out of this prep race, the Louisiana Derby. And the winner of the race was Epicenter, number 6. So let's watch the trip, and we'll talk about it afterwards. Here's the Louisiana Derby.
They're in the gate. And they're off. And the TwinSpires.com, Louisiana Derby. And Zozos broke sharp, Curly Tail, Epicenter, and there's Pioneer of Medina. As they make their way toward the clubhouse turn, it's Zozos. So Zozos leads at the inside for Florent Giroux, with Pioneer of Medina second and close up. Epicenter in third, with Capona in fourth, Gold on the outside in fifth. Curly Tail is sixth as they round the clubhouse turn. Ronald the Roll in seventh. Long odds, Silent Power is second to last, and with James Graham, the LeCompte winner, Call Me Midnight, settles in last position. It's Zozos. So Zozos leads Pioneer of Medina by 3/4 a length. They have 6 furlongs to run. Joel Rosario and Epicenter nicely settled toward the inside, running in third for this run to the half-mile pole. Capona in fourth. Galt is fifth. It's a break of 2 more then to Rattle and Roll, followed toward the inside by Curly Tail. The trailers remain Silent Power and finally Call Me Midnight. The opening quarter was 23.27 seconds, half mile 47.35 seconds. They have a half mile to run in the Louisiana Derby, and it's Zozos who continues to lead at tracking Pioneer of Medina, with Epicenter right there tucked in toward the rail. Capona being asked to pick up now with 3 furlongs to go. Then to the inside is Galt. Rattle and Roll is still some 8 lengths off these leaders as Zozos continues to just fend Pioneer of Medina, followed by Call Me Midnight, who's now getting on the extreme outside. Curly Tail and Silent Power is last. Zozos, Pioneer of Medina, and here's a sweeping Epicenter, who's building momentum. 3/4, 1 minute 11.69 seconds. Epicenter has taken the lead. From the inside, Zozos, then Pioneer of Medina, and Call Me Midnight. Coming past the 16th, it's Epicenter, who's kicked away now from Zozos. Pioneer Medina will be third best. Epicenter wins the Louisiana Derby. Zozos was second, Pioneer Medina third, then Rattle and Roll with
So, Dwayne, Epicenter, it was noteworthy because Epicenter had made the lead in every one of his career starts, and he'd won, most of them, almost all. He'd only been defeated one time. But this time he showed the ability to rate behind horses. I know that was the intention, take some dirt in his face, sit behind those leaders, and he did it beautifully. He angled out when Rosario asked at the top of the lane, and you could see he was just the best horse in there. But to me, what's significant is that Epicenter was able to sit behind horses. He did not need the lead to win. I thought Zozos ran a pretty strong second for a horse that was only making his third lifetime start. So he's a horse who's got 2 wins and a second with improving numbers in each and every race. Pioneer of Medina is a Fletcher horse who's been competitive, but he hasn't been able to really match Epicenter, finishing third and fourth behind him. Blinkers are off tomorrow on Pioneer of Medina, but I was just impressed by what Epicenter was able to do. And it looked like he still had something in the tank, and I like the prep being 5 weeks out, so he's had plenty of time, and he's also been 1 mile and 3/16. So your thoughts on the race?
Yeah, it's definitely impressive. I mean, you could see that he was taking a lot of kickback on the rail and the dirt in his face, which was important to rectify just going to the lead, because once you're just a one-dimensional speed horse, you can't do much. In the Derby, there's going to be somebody who goes out and cooks you. So this was very important. I think it was an excellent training job by Asmussen, and definitely Joel gave him a superior ride. Joel Rosario in big money races knows exactly what to do. But my whole question here with this horse is, who is he beating? Like you said, Zozos, definitely a nice racehorse, but only that was the third race. And, Florent Giroux put him right on the lead. It's a Brad Cox horse, don't get me wrong. Brad Cox, one of the top conditioners in the world, and he did have enough left in the tank. But let's look further down on his past performance lines. Where is the race that Epicenter lost and ran his worst? At Churchill Downs, his first asking as a maiden special weight. So, I want to see a little more from this horse, because I know it's going to be the favorite, and I'm not sure who he was beating in this last race. Now, the prior race, he did beat Zandon, who had a terrible trip, but still, Epicenter beat Zandon. So, a lot of positives for Epicenter. I think Asmussen is real cold, though, now in the state of Kentucky. We're going to see how this horse runs. We're going to see how the track pans out. I definitely think he has an excellent chance to win. I don't believe the price is going to be right for me to take this horse. I think he's going to be the post-time favorite.
The next race we'll watch is the Arkansas Derby. The winner of the race is Cyberknife. He's number 16 tomorrow. He's number 8 in this race. The runner-up in the race is Barber Road, who's going to be a big price tomorrow. He's number 3 in this Oaklawn race and number 14 in your program tomorrow. So it's just 2 runners that come out of the Arkansas Derby. We'll watch this and then we'll comment afterwards. Cyberknife, trained by Brad Cox, who just mentioned by Dwayne as being, I think, this guy's horses are running out of their mind.
Clips Award winner.
Yeah, they fired today. And Barber Road by an up-and-coming trainer named John Ortiz, who is doing a good job in winning a lot of races in that area, Oaklawn and Churchill Downs. So this is the Arkansas Derby, 1 mile and 1/8. For the call, Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Good start. Kavadan chasing time. A hard scent doppelganger. Cyberknife is in the mix, and We the People could be 5 wide at the clubhouse turn. Flavian Pratt will not have any of that. He's going to take him back and drop over. Then comes Barber Road, Secret Oath, and Onoho, and the early trailer is Ben Diesel. Around the clubhouse turn, it is Kavad. He's a length and a half in front of Chasing Time and Doppelganger. Doppelganger wanted the lead. He's done no better than third early. 2.5 to Cyberknife. Then comes We the People. Secret Oath is outside of him, and outside of her is Ben Diesel. Then a length to the Rebel winner Unoho, and Barber Road is between horses. Only 6 lengths first to last. Up the backstretch in the 86th Arkansas Derby, Kavad is the leader. He's 5 furlongs from the wire and leads. Here's an early move from Cyberknife. He's going to split horses and be a joint second inside of Chasing Time. Doppelganger is 4 deep, and he's 2 from the front. Secret Oath is last, leaving the backstretch. Then comes Unoho. They round the far turn, and Kavad has the lead, but Cyberknife is right alongside. Now Secret Oath is unwinding. She's just gone from last up into third, and look at this move from Secret Oath. She's within 2 of the lead. There's a 1/4 mile to run in the Arkansas Derby. Cyberknife has put away Kavad, but he has to deal with Secret Oath in the center. Then comes Barber Road, a final furlong. Cyberknife, here comes Secret Oath on the outside. She's still 2 lengths behind. Cyberknife, Secret Oath is not going to get by the Arkansas Derby winner, and his name is Cyberknife. In front. Cyberknife won. Barber Road got into second. Secret Oath was third. Maybe.
Oh, and by the way, the filly who was third won the Kentucky Oaks today. We kind of forgot to mention that part of it. Made the huge run there on the far turn, Secret Oath, and then I think Wayne Lucas wisely decided we're going to go in the Oaks instead of the Derby, and got that win today. So Cyberknife, a couple things I took away from the race. He was rating very nicely early, then down the backside made a move into a really hot pace. Looked like horses were kind of coming outside of him, and the jock decided, you know, we've got to go, or we might get in a bad spot there. He's also a little bit of a head case. He drifts out. You could see him getting out during the lane. He's a horse that I'm pretty familiar with because I'm part of a radio show with a guy named John Hardoon, who is from the Ragas and Sheets. John's son, Joey, was instrumental in purchasing this horse for the owner. He's a bloodstock agent, and they paid a pretty penny. I think they paid $400,000 or somewhere in that range. So anyway, John's been on our show every Saturday talking about, you know, how fired up they were on knock on wood they can get there and do the walkover tomorrow before the race. So sentimentally, I'd like to see the horse run well. I was all set to say none of these Arkansas horses have a chance until Secret Oath came and won the Oaks today. I think Barber Road's the kind of horse who can plod on and maybe pass horses, but I don't think he's nearly fast enough to win the race. So I'm not using Cyberknife, but I know the connections think he's training well and continuing to get better. If he were to run really well tomorrow, it wouldn't shock me.
Well, his Ragas and numbers aren't there with Epicenter and you know, some of the others, and Jonathan knows that, obviously. The horse is training up very well, though. I mean, you see that 111-1 workout jumps off the page on the 30th of last month. This race was kind of weirdly run. Like Bob said, you see Giroux make that big move, and he splits horses and takes control. And actually, the filly was supposed to be close to the lead that day, and she chose to drop back. So, you know, it seemed like a quick pace, but I think Florent Giroux made the right move and definitely outrode the rest of the riders in this race. I think the race comes up a little soft. I mean, Epicenter crushed this horse in the Lecomte, if you look back on the past performance lines. And what you're going to see is that Epicenter has beaten a lot of these horses in this race. So that's why I feel Epicenter is going to be the favorite. And, you know, I think Cyberknife is an improving horse, but too much to do here. Barber Road, you know, Raylu Gutierrez is a great rider. Like you said, John Ortiz, an up-and-coming trainer. But so much to do. The race would have to basically unravel because this horse is going to be, I feel, trailing most of the way and try to make a one-strong move. But I'm like Bob. I'm going to toss these horses. The Arkansas Derby has come up a little light as opposed to previous runnings.
Dwayne, I'm in agreement with you. I think Epicenter goes favored tomorrow.
Yeah.
I thought I thought the morning line maker made the wrong morning line favorite. He will have a big say with about a $4 million wager. Do you have any update on kind of the odds after today's betting? Because they do start betting early.
Yeah, well, if you look at the pools from the Oaks to Derby double, Epicenter is definitely the favorite right now. Taiba is the second choice. Zandon is the third choice. And that's, I've used different formulas, spreadsheets, and that comes across the board. Epicenter is the favorite. Now, there's a lot of betting to be done. Don't get me wrong. Nobody's bet on Saturday. This is just advanced wagering. Pools on those pick threes that are 2 days, 2-day pick sixes, as well as the Oaks and Derby doubles. So Epicenter is definitely going to be the favorite, in my opinion, unless, like the gentleman said, Mattress Mac makes a $5 million bet on Zandon or one of the Baffert Tim Yakteen horses.
What do you think? Take Mattress Mac out of the equation. Is 4-1 the right price?
Yeah, that's why I said it would be so difficult for me to book this race, because I feel the favorite's going to be in that 7-2, 9-2 range. There's going to be a lot of different opinions here, betting interest, horses we didn't get to that buzz on the track from some of the horses that have run out of the country. They're working so well. You're going to see a lot of action on this race.
Did you have a question, sir? Yeah. Number 5. Smile happy. Or maybe that was a hedge bet. All right, but the real money's coming tomorrow. Yeah. That's the warm-up money, the $300,000, right? Okay, this race is the Florida Derby, and you've got 4 horses coming out of this race to run tomorrow. White Abario, you won't miss him. He's almost pure white. A horse named Charge It, who ran second in the Florida Derby. Simplification, and then a horse that faded very badly named Classic Causeway. They weren't going to run in the race. They took him off the future book wagering, and then he was all of a sudden back in the race. Coming off of this poor effort. So 4 of them in here: White Abario, Charge It, Simplification, Classic Causeway, and we'll watch it and then talk about the Florida Derby.
And they're off in the Florida Derby. Excellent beginning for Classic Causeway from down toward the inside. Simplification was way in good shape today, and he's up to challenge from second. Papa Cap gets away in third. Wide around the first turn is White Abario. The race favorite Charge It drops in mid-flight. He's about 4 lengths behind. Then it's O Captain racing ahead of Clapton and King of Truth. Cajun's Magic is third last. Steel Sunshine is second last. And 11th and last is Strike Hard as they chase the Tampa Bay Derby winner Classic Causeway to the backstretch run. Classic Causeway relaxed up front, he leads a half a length. Simplification will not let him get far second. 3 wide, Papa Cap third. Luis Saez has Charge It fourth at the rail. He's racing together with the gray White Abario. A gap of another 2 to Clapton, who's outside of O Captain. Then it's a length and a half to Cajun's Magic. King of Truth and Steel Sunshine race together about 10 lengths off the pace, and still at the back is Strike Hard. The opening quarter was 23-3. The half mile was 47-1. Half a mile to go in the 2022 Keeneland Florida Derby. We have a new leader. Simplification has powered past Classic Causeway, who backpedals. Papa Cap looms a threat on the outside. White Abario takes third. Up to fourth is Charge It. Dropping back is Classic Causeway, then Clapton and O Captain as they run to the top of the stretch. Up front, Papa Cap doing battle with Simplification. 3 wide, White Abario. Charge It getting ready to launch his bid. He's 3 lengths off the lead, but gaining ground with a quarter of a mile left to go. Now at the top of the stretch, Simplification bracing for an oncoming White Abario. Papa Cap is very game between horses, and Charge It swings into action on the far outside. There's an 1/8 of a mile to go. White Abario takes over from Simplification. Charge It with a late say down the center. 16th to run. White Abario almost home. Charge It shifts ground. White Abario still there, and White Abario wins the Florida Derby for Safi Joseph Jr. from Charge It in second and Simplification third. Papa Cap ran fourth. The time for the race, 1:50.
Sorry about the closed caption on there. That was a little distracting. Dwayne, what do you make of White Abario? I got to say, of all the groups I kind of look at it like the NCAA tournament. So you got the West region, you got the East, the South, the Midwest, and then you kind of rank, which are the toughest the brackets coming out of. I thought Arkansas was the weakest of the brackets, and I'm still trying to figure out the Florida bracket. I just don't know how good those horses were. White Abario is 4 for 5 lifetime. You certainly can't knock him. His only defeat did come at Churchill Downs, so he's been kind of a Florida specialist for a trainer that's kind of a Florida specialist in Saffie Joseph. The second horse, Charge It, I think has a lot of upside for Fletcher. This horse, if you saw him, he was lugging in. He was raced very green the final 16th of a mile, and you could almost make a case that if he had run straight, it would have been a close finish. So I think he's got a lot of upside. The other horse, Simplification, I think they believe they had this horse too close to the pace, and I know they're going to try to take him back a little more tomorrow under the Ortiz, Jose Ortiz, who's going to get this horse to rate a little bit more tomorrow. He's got a little quality to him. And then just a quick story on the horse that faded out of it, Classic Causeway. He was a horse who had won at Tampa. He'd been very impressive, and he was done at the 3/8 pole in this race, and he went backwards. And it seemed that there were rumors that he'd had a breathing issue, and he was taken off the Derby trail. And all of a sudden, he's back on. So a little inside baseball here. I was having dinner with Kurt Hoover at the Derby restaurant about 3 weeks ago, and an older gentleman came up to us and said, "Are you going to pick Classic Causeway in the Derby?" And Hoover said, "He's not even running in the Derby." And the guy said, "Don't believe everything Todd Schrupp says on TVG." He was Clark Cooper, who's one of the 80-year-old owners of this horse.
Right.
And he said, if the horse works good, he's going to be in the Derby, believe me. So he worked well enough, and he's back in the Derby. Now, I take it as a huge negative when an owner basically wants his trainer to run in a race that the trainer has already backed out of. And the trainer has gone on record, Brian Lynch, of saying, well, both of my owners are in their 80s. They're not going to get a lot of more chances at the Derby, so we're going to go. To make a long story short, there's a lot of head-to-head matchups and prop bets. I went extremely hard against Classic Causeway on every proposition that you could come up with. I'm hoping to see another effort where he's done at the 3/8 pole and he's going backwards, and everybody else passes him, because that'll
You're
make
going
for,
on a limb there.
that'll make for a very profitable Derby for me, no matter what else happens. So just a little side note there. Dwayne, your thoughts on any of the other horses coming out of Florida Derby?
Well, you look at all the past performances, and they never leave the state of Florida. And the winner, White Abario, when he left the state of Florida, he lost. And to the horse you're talking about, Classic Causeway. Now, Classic Causeway was going really well at Tampa. I don't know what happened in this race. Obviously, there is some type of issue. I trust Brian Lynch. He's a good conditioner. I watch him. He's, synonymous with turf horses. That's really where he makes his bread and butter. But he's an excellent conditioner, and I would trust him. White Abario is going to take a lot of money. And I just believe that the combination of Saffie Joseph as well as the horse's running style, it's totally suited for Gulfstream Park. So, I could see this horse losing when it ships to other areas of the country, because I just believe it's the classic house horse. And I agree that, there's definitely some upside with the Fletcher horse, Charge It. You do have Luis Saez, but this is another horse that never left the state of Florida. So you have to get acclimated all over again to your surroundings. The horse has only run 3 times, only won a maiden special weight. So I think definitely these Florida horses, there's a lot of question marks. And I'm going to take a pass. I don't feel that competition level was up to some of the other ones, Epicenter, the 2 Yachteen horses, the Chad Brown horse. Simplification, like you said, he's going to change tactics. I trust Jose Ortiz. I think he's going to pull the horse back a little bit. But will that be enough? That's the whole key. The horse really lasted in a quick pace. I think he might be the best out of the three of them, the four of them. So, you know, for what it's worth, I'm going to pass on these Florida horses.
Okay, we're going to watch the Bluegrass at Keeneland. I know Dwayne's going to be very interested in watching this race. You've got the winner, Zandon. He's number 4 in this race. He was made the morning line favorite for tomorrow's Derby. And you also have Smile Happy, who's number 10 in this race in the Bluegrass. So what you're going to see, I'm not going to tip it off too much, but you're going to see a very strong stretch run from Zandon from off the pace, acting like a horse who certainly is not going to have any distance limitations. So here is the Bluegrass.
And they're off in the Grade 1 Toyota Bluegrass Stakes. And there goes Volcanic, and there goes Emmanuel out for the lead. Emmanuel now moves forward and takes the advantage. Golden Glider will go second. Volcanic, his third down toward the inside. Ethereal Road comes away running in fourth. Smile Happy is going to be wide in fifth around the first turn. Fenwick is sixth back toward the inside. Trademark is seventh there in between horses. Zandon in close quarters between horses as well. In the eighth spot heading off the first turn. Black Adder ninth on his outside. Command Performance is in 10th. And Rattle and Roll is last of the 11 after an opening quarter in 24.04 seconds. Emmanuel the leader. Emmanuel leads it by 3/4 of a length. And then Golden Glider second 3/4 of a length. Smile Happy is third up on the outside. Volcanic a lane off the rail in fourth. Fenwick moves by to his inside, takes over fourth by just ahead. And then Trademark, who's 3 lanes off the rail, in the fifth position. Ethereal Road is in sixth. Black Adder's a wide seventh. And then Command Performance comes next onto the far turn. Zandon in behind horses 8 lengths off the lead, has Rattle and Roll to his outside. It was 48.39 seconds for the opening half mile. Emmanuel the leader on to the final turn. Emmanuel by just a length. Golden Glider second 3/4 of a length. Smile Happy is right there third up on the outside as they round the turn. And then comes Trademark in fourth. Rattle and Roll angles to the far outside fifth, still 9 lengths off the lead just outside of Ethereal Road. Moving by the quarter pole, Emmanuel the leader. Smile Happy now takes aim from the outside. Here's Smile Happy to take the lead from Emmanuel into the final furlong, and Zandon is running late. Zandon has moved through all kinds of traffic from the back of the pack, and he is now taking command in deep stretch. It's over. Zandon wins the Toyota Bluegrass with a dramatic stretch run for Flavian Pratt. Smile Happy had to settle for second, 1 minute 50.3.
Dwayne, why don't you lead off, because I know you're an advocate of this horse.
Well, I just like, you could see the traffic trouble. It wasn't as immense as the race caller is perceiving it, but definitely Pratt had to do some work on this horse and definitely maneuver. And finally, it seems like Chad Brown has found the perfect fit jockey-wise with Flavian Pratt. Pratt is one of the top riders in the world. He has now moved his tack from Santa Anita, Southern California. He's going to go to the Midwest. He's going to go to Belmont, Saratoga, try and make some of that real huge money battling with the Ortiz brothers. This guy's a top rider, and he's been proving it at Churchill since they've opened. So, this horse, it was a tough trip to navigate. He had an immensely troubled trip against Epicenter as well. If you go 2 back in the Risen Star, you could read, hopped at the start. He made that huge move where he came 5 wide, and then he flattened out a little. The whole question, I don't believe there's distance limitations, is how fit will the horse be coming into this race? And he should be really, he's looked great on the track. I mean, they're referring to him as the Black Stallion. He's just so well conditioned, and I believe that the pace is going to be pretty strong here, and it should set up for him. He could handle a wet track. I definitely think he could do that. It was a little off at Keeneland. They had the track listed as good that day. And I just love the combination of Chad Brown and Pratt. You look at them, they have a positive ROI on a $2 wager. That's immense. And you have that 33% Chad Brown trainer, and he's definitely hungry for a Kentucky Derby. We all know that. So I think this horse is definitely going to be rolling late. And if he kicks in like he did right there, it's going to be tough to stop or match strides with him, unless you have a pretty big lead.
No arguments. He has really become a very good horse. I love the way he won. I love the ride he was given. when Flavien Prat came to California a few years ago, he was a rider from France, and nobody really knew him. And I started watching this guy, and especially on the turf, he's just making these unbelievably great rides. And I told my dad, who's an old-time horse player, I said, this guy's going to be the best rider in California within a year or two. And I think I was proven out on that. I would say now, in my opinion, now Dwayne will probably argue because he's a New York guy, I would say Pratt is the best rider in the country. I would take him over anybody, whether it's Irad Ortiz or Joel Rosario. He's one of the best position riders I've ever seen in my life. This guy is headed for the Hall of Fame if he stays healthy. There's no question about it. He is a great, great, great rider. So it's a 20-horse field. Well, the horse has got to come from out of it. Yeah, you need a lot of racing luck, but I'm going to tell you what, Flavien Prat's not going to make any mistakes. No. He may run into trouble because somebody comes over on him, but it's not going to be pilot error. I think he'll fire a big shot. Yeah. I debated between my top pick and my second pick and went back and forth all week long, and we'll get to that, but Zandon was definitely in the fray for me. And the horse Smile Happy, who was second in there, he's not a bad horse.
No.
I mean, he won both of his races as a 2-year-old. He's been second in both of his starts as a 3-year-old, once behind Epicenter and once behind Zandon. I thought 20-1 was kind of a fat price.
He was the
him.
favorite against Zandon in that race we just watched.
Yes, he was, and he was the favorite on against
yes.
Epicenter in the Risen Star.
Correct.
So 20-1 seems like a big number. I could definitely see him getting a part of it. He was wide throughout in that race, so he's one who could impact the exotics at a very minimum. So those two horses. Now we go to the Wood Memorial, and there's only one horse that comes out of this race, and that's the winner, Mo Donegal, number 1. And I've been teasing Dwayne for 7 years here about the Wood Memorial being the least productive prep race, sending out no Derby winners since I think Fusaichi Pegasus in 2000. So it's been a dead prep race. And I texted Dwayne right after this race was over, and I said, you know what? That actually looked like a real race this year. Those horses really ran well.
Yeah.
Mo Donegal, the 1, he gets a tremendous off-the-pace ride from Joel Rosario in this race, and he has also drawn the 1 for tomorrow's Kentucky Derby. So just one horse to watch, and that's number 1, Mo Donegal, the Wood Memorial.
For the Wood Memorial. And they're off, and it was a hesitant beginning for number 5, Morello, who is last in the early going. Early voting is out for the early lead. AP Secrets on the outside, and down at the rail it is a Golden Code. Steadying there just a bit was Skippy Longstocking as they go around the clubhouse turn. To his outside is Baris. Then it's a break of 2.5 lengths to a Long Term, who races in 6th. Mo Donegal is down at the rail in 7th. And Morello is the trailer in 8th as the 3-year-old Colts head for the backstretch. The opening quarter was run in 23 4/5 seconds. And it is early voting, setting the pace here and leading by a half length. AP Secret keeping up the pressure on the outside in 2nd. And then it is Baris and Golden Code. The two of them are 3rd and 4th. The two New York breds are 3rd and 4th. Then 2.5 lengths back to Skippy Longstocking. Mo Donegal is down at the rail. Long Term is coming on through, and Morello continues to trail right now about 7 lengths from the lead. The half was running 47 3, and it is early voting on top as they go around the far turn. Early voting 3/4 of a length. AP Secret is in 2nd. Baris is next in 3rd. Skippy Longstocking runs in 4th, and now Mo Donegal begins to pick it up. Mo Donegal is gaining ground towards the inside. Morello is now up to 6th, but with an awful lot to do as they hit the top of the stretch. 3/4 went in 1:11 2. It is early voting, trying to take them wire to wire here. Early voting in front. Mo Donegal comes on through down on the inside to grab 2nd. It is early voting in front. A challenge here from Mo Donegal. Early voting trying to hold on with a 16th to the finish. Mo Donegal bearing down on the outside. It's Mo Donegal and early voting, and it is Mo Donegal. Mo Donegal won the Remsen here as a 2-year-old, and he comes back to win.
Dwayne, your backyard, the Wood Memorial.
Yes.
That was a nice off-the-pace win.
Yeah, and look at the time. I mean, 1:47 4. they were moving. And the horse he caught is actually waiting for the Preakness. Don't get me wrong, if Zandon wins the Derby, I don't think Chad Brown will risk it. But that's a real nice racehorse in early voting that he caught, and early voting was the favorite in this race. But what a credit and what a great ride by Joel. The rail sometimes could be really dead at Aqueduct. So he rode the rail, then he was able to maneuver off of the rail, made that big middle move, and before you knew it, he was right in the race and definitely in the running. So this is a real nice horse. This is Todd Fletcher as well. Like I said, 1:47.4 is a tremendous time. Bob had said, he texted me immediately, this might be a real nice prep. The factor now in the Derby is the rail. No one has won on the rail the Kentucky Derby since Ferdinand. That's 86, if I'm not mistaken, 1986. So you're going tons of years without a horse that breaks from the rail winning. But we do have the new gate now, and it's only been a couple of years that they've had the new starting gate, and he will be breaking. He's not forced right into the rail. He obviously could close and absorb some kickback. This is a real nice horse. I got to use him in my exotics. I mean, you look back, White Abario did beat him at Gulfstream, but he beat Zandon at Aqueduct. So this horse is definitely coming into his own. I think it's the best out of the Fletcher 3-year-olds, and it's going to take some beating. He's going to be flying late as well, and I definitely think Irad Ortiz, I disagree. You know, Bob knew this was coming. This is the best rider in the world. He will do anything to win. And that's like somewhat of an Angel Cadero mentality that Irad Ortiz has. And I compare him to, Angel all the time. And Cadero was one of the top that I've ever seen. Irad right now is one of the top I've ever seen. And, let's give Epicenter his due, though. Joel is choosing Epicenter over Mo Donegal.
I thought it was a nice race. Now, he's kind of a grinder, but, if they go real fast, he's going to definitely be finishing. Mile and a quarter should be right in his wheelhouse. Obviously, you need racing luck when you're a horse coming from way off the pace and in a 20-horse field. I'm not sure the rail hurts him all that much because he was going to drop back anyway. So, hey, everybody's going to need racing luck. If you're a front runner, you need to break well and get out of the gate. If you're a closer or mid-pack, you need to avoid trouble. So that's the nature of a 20-horse field. You need a lot of racing luck. So I like this horse. He's not going to surprise. I don't think he can win the race, but he could definitely impact some of the exotics, I thought. Okay, the final race we'll show is in my backyard, the Santa Anita Derby. Traditionally, one of the strongest prep races is produced, I think, maybe after the Florida Derby, the most Kentucky Derby winners. It's been a tremendous prep race. This year, only a 6-horse field. It was not a deep field at all. 3 of them didn't belong in the race. But the first 2 horses definitely did, and that was Taba and Messier. Taba was a horse who had only broken his maiden first time out and then went to a 1 1/8 Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby. I thought they were kind of crazy for running in the race. So did all of the owner's advisors. They begged him, please do not run this horse in this race. He is not ready for this. But you'll see that he was pretty ready for the race. The second horse is Messier. Again, we talked about him, formerly Bob Baffert horses trained by Tim Yakteen now. And I thought they both ran well. There's not a lot of depth to this race, but I thought it was a quality race. So we're looking at number 6, Taba, and number 4, Messier, who actually kind of broke a step slowly in here. So here is the final prep. We'll look at the Santa Anita Derby.
They're in the gate. And they're off in the run-happy Santa Anita Derby. Forbidden Kingdom flashes his speed right out of the gate, and Taba came away in good order second. Messier third through the opening furlong, and Armagnac is fourth, about 4 lengths off the pace. Then Happy Jack and Win the Day is at the back of the field. Forbidden Kingdom goes a bit wide into the first turn, and Messier moves right into second. The favorites are 1-2 as they head to the 6 furlong pole. 2 more back to Taba in third. Then it's Armagnac, fourth, 5 lengths off the leader. Happy Jack is next. Win the Day far back. Field heads to the 5/8 pole, chasing Forbidden Kingdom, who's cruising along. He's in front by a length and a half. Messier getting a little bit closer in second. It's 3 more back to Taba by himself in third, and Armagnac is fourth now, 6 lengths off the lead. Big gap to Happy Jack and Win the Day. They're heading to the 3/8 pole in the Run Happy Santa Anita Derby, and Forbidden Kingdom has been the controlling speed. Messier moving in now within a half length. Taba has just 2 to make up as they come toward the quarter pole. Armagnac fourth, and Messier has taken the lead at the quarter pole and quickly pulls away from Forbidden Kingdom. Taba running a giant race on the outside, 3/16 of a mile to run, and it's Messier and Taba 1-2. Forbidden Kingdom 5 behind, inside the 8th pole. Messier, Taba running lights out on the outside, and here's Taba getting the upper hand in the final stages. The Run Happy Santa Anita Derby goes to Taba under Mike Smith. Messier was second, Happy Jack third, Armagnac fifth.
So you can see they both, I thought they both really fired, and they were well clear. I neglected to mention Happy Jack, who's in tomorrow, was also in this race. I neglected him because he was third beaten 12, and before that he was third beaten 10, and before that he was fifth beaten 27. He really has no business being in the race tomorrow, but he is. So he should be 30 or 50 to 1 tomorrow. But he was the horse that was the very distant third in there. So as I mentioned, Taba was coming off a sprint maiden win to go a mile and an eighth, and he really ran by Messier at the end of the race. Now Messier had been off a couple months. He kind of did the dirty work, chasing a very fast pace, and he couldn't hold off the stablemate in there. Messier, I think, is a horse with a ton of ability, but one thing bothers me. When he gets into a dogfight, he's kind of given it up in the last 50 yards of his defeats. He got beat by a horse named Slow Down Andy in the Los Alamitos Futurity, and then he was really no match for Taba there. So I question Messier in a dogfight. If he's out cruising and somehow gets away from him by 2 or 3 lengths, then I think he's going to be very tough. So I respect both horses. I think they're both major contenders.
Yeah, I agree with Bob. I mean, this race came up real nice, and Taiba has one of the best raggers in numbers, sheet numbers, out of the whole field, so you definitely have to take that into consideration. $1.7 million purchase, so you know that, Yachtine, Baffert, they know what they're doing with this horse, and coming out of a sprint to just kick home like that in the final 16th was incredible. I mean, Messier's a really, really nice horse, but like Bob said, Messier tends to pack it in if he gets eyeballed or looked in the eye, but I think he's definitely going to sit a little tomorrow. He's not just going to bolt out to the lead. He broke bad in that race, a step slow, as you could obviously see. You go down in the racing form and you look at his races when he was a 2-year-old, he was able to rate. And you get the services of John Velasquez. He's definitely going to be a major player. Getting back to Taiba, I mean, monster raggers in numbers. You look on the form, how could you find anything wrong? It took him longer to get acclimated to Churchill Downs from my connections that are over there. They told me that Messier really took to the surroundings. Taiba had to be worked a little, had that 3 furlong, 38-3, I believe. They added an extra work in there. Missed 1 day of training, for what that's worth. I kind of like Messier a little better than Taiba, but these are 2 major players, and think about it. In that race, Mandela's horse was the favorite against 2 Bob Baffert / Yachtine trainees, which is somewhat unheard of at Santa Anita, and these 2 just ran him into the ground. These are 2 really nice racehorses. I definitely think they have to be used in exotics just because of the rich history of the training team. Like Bob said, the whole staff has remained. There is nothing changing going from Baffert to Yachtine. You have to respect these 2 horses. I respect Messier just a little more, but Taiba could easily win this race.
Well, we're at the part of the show now where we give our picks. So the next slide will be Dwayne's selections and how he's going to bet the race. So, Dwayne, take it over.
Okay, like I explained, I definitely respect both the Yachtine trainees. I feel, though, that Zandon has had 2 rough trips in a row, which that's a learning experience when you're dealing with 2-year-olds turning 3 years old. He's been bounced around. He's had the dirt kicked in his face. He ran his best race, his last race, and it was a monster race at Keeneland. Didn't have to travel much. Like I said, Chad, this year, 1 out of every 3 starters is winning, so you're definitely going to get your money value here. This horse is not going to be the favorite. Trust me, Epicenter is going to be the favorite, and I think this horse is just going to be flying late and catch Messier. Like Bob said, I think Messier is going to get a little away. You know, if he just sits behind the pace and it starts to collapse, he's going to inherit the lead. So, you know, as long as John could ride this horse and not fall off, which he will not, he's one of the top riders I've ever seen. I think Messier is a major player here as well. Like I said, Mo Donegal, the rail is just the major factor, and if a troubled trip comes into play, that's going to definitely hurt his chances. But I don't believe the rail is as much as a factor like Bob and I spoke about. You now have that auxiliary, you don't have the auxiliary gate. You have the full 20-horse starting gate, which is a tremendous factor. Taiba is going to be right there. I mean, tough to beat. Money Mike Smith, another Yakteen Baffert trainee. You saw him pass Messier very easily in that final 16th. This horse looks like it could go unlimited ground. Like I said, a $1.7 million purchase. So you could see, I'm going to key and box the exactas. I'll have Zandon on top. 10 over the 1, 6, 12. I will reverse those, but I will be keying Zandon and betting to win. Also, you could see my trifecta structure. I will put Zandon in top and second. I believe this horse is finishing first or second in this race. I'm not going to back it all up with try boxes. I think he's going to be very tough coming down the lane. I trust Pratt. Bob trusts Pratt. I think this is the horse to beat.
I went back and forth all week long. I said, just pick the best horse. And then in my mind, that's Taiba. I think he's the fastest horse. I think he's the most talented horse. And then I started thinking, well, he's only had 2 starts. He ran in a 6-horse field. He's going to ship across country. His 3rd start of his career is going to be 20 horses. Couldn't pick Taiba, even though I believe he's the most talented horse in the race. I couldn't pick Messier, even though I think he's going to run well. So I ended up coming down to the 2 horses that I think are maybe the 2 best horses right now for tomorrow, and I know they're both doing great. And that was Epicenter and Zandon. When I watched their workouts from Churchill, they look like they're coming out of their skin, these 2 horses. And then I said, well, which one am I going to pick? I got my all-time favorite jockey, Flavien Prat, on Zandon, who's going to be coming, from a little farther out of it and may risk traffic trouble. You've got Epicenter, who has done really nothing wrong in his career, but he's drawn the 3-post. Unless he breaks real well and Rosario finds a trip with him, he could be in a tough spot. But if he comes out, he could sit on the rail and get the same kind of trip he got in the Louisiana Derby. So at 10 o'clock last night, after watching the Risen Star and watching the way I thought Epicenter dominated that race, I ended up, wiped the chalk off, but I have Epicenter on top in a very close call over Zandon. I have Messier 3rd, and I have Taiba 4th. And, kind of the problem with my picks is I think these are the 4 top favorites in the race. But it's such a wide open race. Messier could be 6-1. Taiba could be 8-1. This is not a chalk fest kind of 8-5 over 2-1.
For a second, Bob, let me interject. We didn't mention Crown Pride is definitely going to take a lot of money. This is the Japanese-bred racehorse that comes out of the Dubai race, the United Emirates. And, usually horses that come out of Meydan, Dubai, 13th, I believe they average their finishing position in the Kentucky Derby. But this is a really, really nice horse. And the Japanese horses have been on center stage, winning in Saudi Arabia, winning in Dubai. They're on an incredible win streak. So I just wanted to mention this horse because the horse is going to take money. And, you know, I feel Bob feels the same way. It's so tough to come from Dubai overseas and compete in the Kentucky Derby. But we're going to get some value here. Epicenter will not be that short.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Dwayne. There were actually a few horses we were supposed to talk about that weren't part of the tape, so let's just do that real quickly. You just mentioned Crown Pride, who won the UAE Derby. These Japanese horses, as Dwayne said, have been on some kind of roll since last year's Breeders' Cup. They stepped to the forefront on the Saudi World Cup night. They stepped to the forefront on the Dubai World Cup night. They stepped to the forefront
Breeders' Cup.
and were dominant. So you've got Crown Pride, who defeated Summer Is Tomorrow in the UAE Derby. And Crown Pride, I know, you're right, he's going to get some buzz off of his works back there. So you can't really dismiss him, but the history of the UAE Derby is no good coming into Kentucky. It's been non-competitive.
13.
That's why I didn't have that one in. So a couple horses there to talk about.
Ed?
Not really, no, because I think that track will dry out so fast that, you know, and the weather changes there. How do you even anticipate? Today was supposed to be all the rain, and tomorrow was supposed to be perfect weather. So things can change, but I think these horses will handle the wet. Dwayne, let's just mention the other couple that we did not have on tape. Yeah. Number 9, Tis the Bomb, who won the Jeff Ruby,
right.
Stakes on the synthetic. He's mainly been a turf and synthetic horse.
Yeah, definitely a turf horse. You could see ran second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf and actually caused me a fortune. I needed McKinnon second or first that day, so I remember this horse. But, you know, when he runs on dirt, there's a lot to be desired. He likes a poly track. He likes a turf course, like Bob said. Definitely going to be in excess of 25-1.
Number 18, Tawny Port. He won the Lexington, which is the last prep race that's run. It's only 3 weeks ago. I didn't think it was much of a field. I think he would be a big number tomorrow. I think you would agree, Dwayne. And let's just mention, I don't think we mentioned this, number 20, Ethereal Road, is a scratch tomorrow, and one of the also eligibles got in. So scratch number 20, Ethereal Road. We're not going to have a Dwayne Lucas Oaks Derby double. And scratch, Rattle, and Roll. But the first also eligible, Rich Strike, did get into the race. Boy, I have a hard time with this one, Dwayne. Won a maiden 30 as his only victory as a 2-year-old at Churchill. Did win by 17 lengths, but this horse will be a gigantic price tomorrow. And I think that has us covering all 20 of them.
Yes, and this horse will be a bomb. He's a deep closer, and just for the drawing purposes, if when we call the 20th name, that's who you will receive is Rich Strike.
So my betting strategy, even though these horses are all going to be somewhat favorite to moderate prices, but it's the Derby and 20 horses. I mean, you get a bomber in there for third, and you complete a trifecta that, you know, pays $600 or $800. So I'm going to key Epicenter. Dwayne feels that Zandon's going to be 1-2, and I can't really argue with him. I feel Epicenter is going to be 1-2 in the race. So I'm going to key him with those other 3 horses, the 6, 10, and 12. I'll put all for third, and then I'm going to come back with 6, 10, and 12, put the 3 for second, Epicenter, put all for third, which I like to do in tries. You hope for chaos, and you hope for a gigantic price to run in there for third. And then I'll play Exacta-Tri Super Box with those 4 horses. I wish I could have a bigger price in there somewhere because there's definitely a lot of live ones, but I really feel that those 4 horses up there are very solid horses, and if I'm playing rolling bets, pick 4s, pick 5s, whatever, I'm going to feel good having my last leg being those 4 horses and hoping one of them can get the job done. Dwayne, I know you have a pick 4 ticket as well.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put that slide up, and that starts in the 9th race for you. I think it's a $72 ticket if my math was right. This is a 50-cent play.
Yeah, this covers the major stake races, and you know, this is for people that play exotic wagers, we're offering them again this year. We didn't offer this in the previous 3 years. Pick fours, multi-race wagers here in Las Vegas. You know, so it was very hard, difficult to book, plus we had to cap the payoffs. Now you get full track odds, and this starts in race 9, which is the American Turf. You know, you could see the horses I'm using, Smoke and Tea, main event. Then we go down to Baunikov, I hope I said that right, and Portfolio Company, Side Dog, as well as Coinage. Then we go to the Churchill Downs Stakes, and these are all major stake races, guys. This is the sprint winner is actually in this upcoming race, Aloha West, and running against Jackie's Warrior once again. And I will be looking at Jackie's Warrior, Chad Brown's trained Reinvestment Risk, and the 8-horse Cezanne, who is one of those horses that was taken from Bob Baffert and now in the Todd Fletcher barn. A really, really nice racehorse. Flavian Pratt on that horse as well. Then we come up to the Turf Classic, you know, just a fabulous, fabulous race. I'm using both the Brown runners, Public Sector, Tribuvan, and, you know, a couple of others in there. Adamo, another Chad Brown. You know, when it comes to the turf, this guy is stacked. And, you know, when you're winning 1 in 3 races, it's hard to leave him off your ticket. And I'll also throw in the bottom. And then I'm also going to use, in the last leg, like we said, Zandon, and I will use my second pick, Messier, in case Zandon is a little short. $72 ticket on a 50-cent increment. And, you know, Bob will tell you, on Kentucky Derby Day, these things pay massive. The pools are so large, and now we have Nevada in the pool once again, which is so important. And tons of my customers love these exotic wagers. I'll be purchasing this ticket. Also, I'll be purchasing several Pick 4 and Pick 5 tickets, you know, hoping to get lucky, like Bob said. You throw those alls in the, you know, the third position, you're going to make a bonanza. This is a great racing day, great pools, great races.
I didn't come up with a multi-race ticket yet. Maybe I'll try to put something together on my sheet, which will be in the race book tomorrow. I had enough trouble trying to figure out one race on this card.
You and me both.
Let alone trying to string together 4 of them. So I haven't done that yet, but it's just a really, really competitive card. I did both days, and I really thought, man, Friday, Oaks Day, was, to me, the better gambling card. I thought I had better opinions, and just couldn't quite close it out. But tomorrow you'll have your opportunities. You only need to be right once or twice tomorrow in these gigantic fields, and you could really make a score. So why don't we open it up for questions, and we'd love to hear some of your input and anything you want to ask us before we close out.
Any questions? Alan? Go ahead, Bob.
For me, it's probably the Florida horses, just because I don't feel like I have a great grasp on what those horses can do and what they're going to do out of Florida. So, you know, a horse like White Abarrio, he puzzles me. I know he's got a lot of ability. He's got a good record. He's got a great record at Gulfstream Park. But I'm just not sure what he's going to do on the big stage tomorrow. I love the jockey, by the way. Tyler Gaffalione, to me, is a guy who is outstanding position rider. Reminds me a lot of Flavian Pratt. Gaffalione rides mainly in the Midwest. He's the king of Churchill during this meet. So to me, the head scratchers are the Florida horses. I just don't know quite what to do with them, and I think White Abarrio is probably the best of the Florida horses.
I'd probably take a chance. You know, if it wasn't for the post, I'd probably use him in my exotics, Zozos. I mean, you know, Brad Cox, he does very little wrong. The horse only has 3 career starts. You look at the workouts at Churchill Downs since the horse has, you know, arrived at the race course. The horse is just fabulous. He's looked fabulous in the morning. Manuel Franco, he's a very good rider. Irad and Jose's cousin, is Manuel Franco. So the Ortiz brothers' cousin is Manuel Franco. Excellent rider. Brad Cox, the current Eclipse Award leading trainer. I would definitely use Zozos. And in case it comes up wet, you have that Munnings and Speightstown breeding, which is just, Bob will tell you, Speightstown is synonymous with sloppy, wet racetracks. And, even though he was a sprinter, Munnings was not. He was able to get a little distance. So you have some excellent mud breeding if the track turns up wet on this horse. I'll probably go deep. I didn't post any superfectas, but I'll use him in some supers.
And I think Dwayne alluded to one horse that, the Japanese horse, Crown Pride, is a big X factor.
Right, right.
Training great, obviously has ability, but just how is that going to translate the UAE Derby to the Kentucky Derby?
Correct.
Yeah, Gary.
What about Cyberknight? He beat Dwayne Lucas's horse, and Lucas dropped today. Do you like him at all at a price?
Wouldn't shock me. I mean, to at least get a piece of it. I know the horse is doing well and improving, and how can you go wrong with a Brad Cox horse the way this guy's going? I mean, the horse physically looks great. He's a little bit of a head case, I will say that, and with 150,000 people screaming and yelling, can unsettle a horse a little bit. He's not going to shock me. I don't think he's, on the numbers, he's not fast enough. There's
Right.
At this point, he has not done anything in his career that's fast enough to win the Derby, but hey, these are lightly raced horses and they can keep getting better.
He's a 50,000 optional claimer. He ran really well then in the Derby. I think the Lucas horse had a rough trip, Secret Oath, in that race. She didn't run her race. It was totally, they thought she was going to be closer to the lead. She dropped all the way back. It is Brad Cox. Love the jockey. Guru is a monster, but, I have to take a pass. I don't see the speed figures being as quick as the others, especially the Ragozin speed numbers, but Cox could pull a rabbit out of his hat, so it definitely could be used.
Yes, sir. Right. It's been interesting since they went to this point system on getting who qualifies for the Derby. It's weeded out a lot of the crazies, that were 70-1 that used to just run off on the lead and go 45 and set it up for some closer. But you're right. It's the recent history of the Derby has been pretty tactical. Horses have to be within a few lengths at the quarter pole, it seems like, in order to impact. That was one reason why I chose Epicenter over Zandon, because I think he's more tactical. Now, if they fly somehow early, and it's hard to figure out what's going to happen pace-wise when you have 20 horses and who breaks, who doesn't break, which jockey's committed to the lead. So I think it'll be an honest pace. I don't think it's going to be a ridiculously fast pace. And to me, that Epicenter, you have a good point. It's hard for a deep closer, not only the luck factor, but maybe just the way that track plays is generally, now maybe Pratt will have your horse rolling at the quarter pole.
I don't buy into past Kentucky Derbies. I mean, Mind That Bird won this race. Ali Sheba closed from the clouds. Monarchos. There's several horses that could close. It's just how the surface is on that particular day. Every year it's a new race. The Kentucky Derby, there's tons of trouble tripped. I mean, Country House wasn't all that close, and he got put up. He was spinning late. So, I just think that it's a lot different. Now you have the new gate. Track plays different every day. So, I could see any horse basically winning here except those outsiders, those like 7 horses that you're going to see the odds be 30-1 or greater. So, I'm not worried about the trip. I think there's going to be a lot of pace in this race. That's what I'm banging on.
No, it's third year, I think. Yeah, it's pretty new, but
yeah.
They have yes, sir.
Did you say you picked the winner in the last 6 years?
No. I had a good streak. I was riding.
I got
those
taken down. Nobody had
I was riding
Country
those
House.
favorites pretty good, but no, I've had good luck with the tries over the years in the Derby. I mean, I don't know exactly how many I've
Justify,
had,
I know you gave out. You gave out Justify.
but I will say last year I did not like Medina Spirit. I didn't like the year before on the horse that got moved up, Mandaloon. So, or not Mandaloon.
Country House.
Country
Yeah,
House.
that was
So,
difficult to come up with,
yeah.
Country House.
So I've stunk the last 2 years. How about that? So I'm due. To win the Derby or coming into the Derby? Right. So, you know, a lot of guys, I talked to Dick Girardi, who used to write for the Philadelphia paper, you know, he thinks you need to have 100 to show that you can have 100 buyer coming into the Derby. And you know, there's a few of them in here, not a tremendous amount of triple-digit buyer horses. But, you know, somebody could jump up. You just, you know, that's why it's horse racing, right? We can all figure it out for 20 hours and, yeah, none of us could have the winner in the room. So that's
what
why
makes
it's great.
it so great.
That's
Everybody
why it's
has an opinion.
Right,
That's
it's
what makes the Derby the best.
It's a pari-mutuel exercise. You know, you get to put your money up with your opinion, and it's not only handicapping, it's trying to find what you feel is value on the tote board. You know, you don't want to be, I hope I don't have the four favorites, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 on my picks because, you know, that's not great value. But again, 20 horses, a lot of things can happen.
But this is a unique year where you're going to get value even with the top four favorites if they run 1, 2, 3, 4. It's such a tight race this year, and I think it's a fabulous betting race. I mean, from all aspects, exotics, just betting win, play, show. So, you know, this is going to be an entertaining race. Everybody's throwing their opinion out there. You know, it's definitely going to be harder to handicap. You take out the Baffert element. And, yeah, you know, this is pari-mutuel wagering at its finest, and the Kentucky Derby always brings that to the table. I mean, everybody has an opinion, and you put your money down and enjoy the race, and hopefully you cash tickets.
Hey, Dwayne, let's just thank a couple people who have supported us over the years. Matt
Yes.
Heumann from VSIN has been great about helping tweet out our seminars. And
Always, yes,
And the
thank you.
Heumann family, thank you for coming.
Yes,
We
yes.
appreciate you.
Yes.
Steve Karp,
Yes, Steve.
back in the back row.
Thank you so much.
Used to be with the Review Journal. Always appreciate your support, and everybody else that is in the book every day. And it's just,
Yes.
it's great to get the support and have you guys come out, and hopefully we can put you on something that's positive
Hopefully somebody
tomorrow.
cashes some tickets.
Any other questions before we start the raffle? Well, thank you, Dwayne, for having me. Thank you, everybody, for showing up.
Thank you, Bob. And thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you guys coming out. This was a fabulous turnout. Thank you so much. The Rampart family loves you guys. You know, get a Rampart rewards card. We have the best comping system. $40 in race play equals one comp dollar. Not a point, a comp dollar. And that's the best across town. You guys could check it out. Definitely get your rewards card. And you have to have a rewards card to get that free slot play loaded. So we're going to call out now 20 names, myself and Janine. Stick around. If we call your name, we're going to go in order. 1, 2, 3 through 20. And remember, the 20 is the 21 because, unfortunately, Dwayne Lucas's horse had to scratch, and the also eligible draws in. Thank you for attending. I appreciate it so much. Come by. Don't be strangers. Come and see me. I'll buy you a cocktail. You know how I am. 20 years in this industry. I just love it. So thank you for the turnout. It's
Good
amazing.
luck, everybody. Come and bet your money tomorrow, and let's make some big scores tomorrow. Good luck. Enjoy the Derby.